And off mic, I have questions for you about fluids.
Oh, I'm sure I have answers. Ask me anything about fluids. Having a baby, it's gross and hilarious and heartbreaking all at once, as we see in the movie Babes. Alonso, please tell us about it.
I had sex, but I was on my period. So you can't get pregnant on your period.
Girl,
Stop.
Girl, you stop. We went to the same school. We learned the same shit.
This is co-written by and starring Ilana Glazer. She and Michelle Buteau play besties since they were 11 years old. Michelle Buteau's character, Dawn, is a dentist, and she is the mother of one, and within the first 5 or 10 minutes of the movie, of two. Whereas Eden has always remained resolutely single, but nonetheless, they hang out, and they're like super, super close and tight. But then Eden meets an actor, and they hit it off immediately and go to bed once, and he kind of ghosts her, but she gets pregnant anyway because nobody told her that you can get pregnant if you have sex while you're on your period, and decides to keep it. And so even though Dawn is like, are you sure you're ready to take this on? Eden insists that she is. And it brings a bit of a conflict into their relationship in that Dawn is a nurturer, and people around her kind of take advantage of that fact. Her husband, her kids, her best friend. And at one point she has to finally sort of say, you know what? No, I have too much on my plate. I can't deal with it anymore. And this is a great character-based comedy. But on the other hand, it is also like if you took a Nicole Holofcener movie and then turned it into a sitcom. Like it gets a little dumb and easy at times. This is one of those movies where no one thinks about money ever. Like it is this fantasy New York where people like there are two hugely expensive and not eaten meals that happen in like literally the first 15 minutes of this movie. A character makes a decision that will undo a major business thing that is necessary to be there for her pal. So it's like we're in that kind of cloud cuckoo land. But if you're forgiving of that, it is consistently hilarious. Glazer and Buteau I've always enjoyed, and they're really fun in this together. They have great comic chemistry. They are willing to go to very big, broad places, dealing with pregnancy and women's bodies and the women's bodies' responses to pregnancy. Really fun ensemble cast, people like Hasan, Minhaj, Sandra Bernhard. There's a funny recurring gag about John Carroll Lynch and his hair. So I had a good time, but the best of this movie made me wish that it was consistently at the level of the best of this movie.
Yeah, this is like, I think it's aspiring to be if Bridesmaids were about babies, right? Like this is what happens to the people who got married in Bridesmaids, and now there's a baby. So it feels almost like a spiritual sequel in a lot of ways, in that it is about female friendships and how raunchy and raw you can get with your girlfriends when you really know each other and are not afraid to say anything. And just like the catharsis of knowing that you have people that you can have those kinds of conversations with this, like just like knowing that you can really make yourself vulnerable and really trust somebody. If there's ever any doubt that women can be funny and raunchy like men, like please come on, like Babes definitely shows us that. This is the directorial debut of Pamela Adlon, who co-created Better Things, which I hear was great. I've never seen Better Things.
I've seen some of it. It's terrific. And, she worked on the show Louie a lot and was really good in that. And is kind of a lifer. Like she was a teen actress. She did a film that my friend Jenny Olson is kind of obsessed with called Something Special, about a teenage girl who wakes up one day and she's a boy. And so it's kind of a farce, but like it is retroactively become like a really interesting piece of trans cinema. But yeah, she's been doing it. She's in Greece. She's in Greece too.
She's in Greece too.
So she's a lifer.
Yeah, and so I feel like she's got a really great handle on the comedy.
Oh yeah.
And then there are these scenes where they're having these awkward conversations with each other about uncomfortable topics that really test their friendship. And I don't feel like those land as effectively. It feels like kind of a tough shift into that territory. I think there's some truth to be had here in the way that a really major life change can test a friendship and can test the boundaries of that friendship and who you knew somebody to be and the challenges of evolving along with somebody, it sounds like it would be a given. Like, of course, her best friend's going to be there for her when they have a baby, you know, but there's more to it. It's more complicated than that. And I think they want to get into honest places with that dynamic that don't necessarily land with the same emotion as the comedy does.
Well, I think the problem with that is, and again, this is the sitcom of it all, is that when they do bring that stuff up, they resolve it real easily and very quickly and very painlessly. And, you know, if you're going to tread into that territory, which why not, you know, in a comedy that's about a relationship and about the way people's lives change as they mature, as you say, then you can't just like waltz away from it, paper it over and like, okay, it's all good now. We're going to, you know, you have to commit to that and really see it through the hard way, I think, to make it land. And you can still be funny while doing that, but the movie, I think, kind of takes a lot of shortcuts. Yeah.
And I think both these actresses they're doing great work with very specifically drawn characters.
Yes.
Right. Because they are very, very different. You can see how they were tight when they were little and how their evolution has sort of like tested that friendship. And then, of course, when she decides to have this baby, Eden has to give up all these things that she loves, like sushi, like coffee. But once she has the baby, she can have all the coffee that she wants. And she can get it now at a discount from our friends at Coffee Bros. They've got a huge sale going on right now for the next week until May 23rd. Take 20% off of your order with our link below. The code is WEEKOFF 2024. So go stock up on all the stuff that you've been maybe thinking about getting. I just ordered a whole bunch of stuff that I'm like, Sumatra. That sounds interesting.
Coffee season.
Iced coffee season. So go get some of that. So we love working with our friends at Coffee Bros. So go get you some of that now. So this is in theaters in limited release, I want to say, right?
It's neon. So maybe I don't know, actually.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's out there in the world, so go find it. I think that the two of them work so well together that it, for the most part, really offsets some of the weaknesses, perhaps, in the storytelling later on. So, what was your number on Babes?
I'd say a 6.8. I think it's solidly funny, and again, like. It is so good at so many things that you want it to be good at all the things. But absolutely worth seeing. I laughed from start to finish. Yeah,
I would say like a 7.2. It gets a lot of things right about like a certain kind of like crunchy granola pregnancy approach that I think is very specific to places like New York and Los Angeles.
Sure,
so I recognize a lot of the things that they tell you have to do when you're pregnant, that maybe if you don't do it, it's okay. Your baby will still love you.
And off mic, I have questions for you about fluids.
Oh, I'm sure I have answers. Ask me anything about fluids. All right, so Babes is out there for your enjoyment. Go check it out.